Hello, hello, and thanks for stopping by. This is Alien for the Atari 2600, published by 20th Century Fox in 1982. I'm playing this on a Retron 77 from a cart I purchased at a local retro gaming store for a few dollars. I didn't know this game existed before I bought my Retron 77, and was surprised to see it on a shelf. There weren't a ton of licensed games in the Atari 2600, and any movie licensed games that did exist at best were only loosely related to the movies they took their titles from. This one is based on the Alien movie series. The movie is a masterpiece, and this game is just a Pac-Man clone with a different skin. I was surprised to see this existed at first, and even more surprised to see it was a Pac-Man clone with added mechanics. I've only had a Retron 77 for a few months, and as my collection's grown past what I owned as a kid, I've already stumbled on 2 Pac-Man clones, and I didn't know Pac-Man clones were actually a thing. This one, as I said, is based on the Alien franchise, and basically has no connection to the movie. You play a human, and there are multiple aliens running around a maze trying to get at you. There are a few different game modes for the game that change one or two of the basic elements. You can set it so the aliens run around at random, or you can set it so they run in a fixed pattern. Also, you can change how the pulsar works in the game, which is the power-up. You can set it so it has no effect. So basically we're running around a maze, picking up dots. The explanation for these dots are that they're supposed to be alien eggs, and you're actually running around and crushing them. I guess that makes enough sense to me. Strangely, looking at the screen and the size of the eggs, even though they're really squares and not well aligned in the maze, they're actually a better visual than the Pac-Man Atari game for the 2600. In that game we got a square Pac-Man running around eating waffles with a weird color scheme, and here, the eggs are small and they almost pass for round. The maze itself is a little clunky for sure, but it gets the job done. This is an Atari 2600 game, and these games were usually only developed by 1 or 2 programmers, and based on what I've experienced, anything that was a little different seemed to be okay to publish. There were really no foundation for quality back then, and I think the marketplace generally had low expectations. Anyway, the game starts and you start running around the maze crushing alien eggs. There are power pills like in Pac-Man, but they're called pulsars. If you grab one, you can kill an alien if you catch one. You can also use a flamethrower. You can fire it 4 times, and if you hit an alien with it, it will turn and run in the other direction. Also, if you fire the flamethrower while you run over the pulsar, it will prevent you from picking it up. This is listed as a game mechanic in the manual I read online, but it kind of seems like an effect in the game programming that just turned into a thing. They found it and they probably just explained it in the manual. I don't know. Seems like a waste of a flamethrower shot just to not pick up the pulsar. There are also a short series of bonus icons that appear and you score points if you grab them. There are 3 aliens that run around the maze and they try to get at you, which is standard Pac-Man expectations, I think, and there's also what they call the hyperwarp tunnel on the left and right side of the screen. You can run through the tunnel on one side and pop out the other side to escape an alien. This is another point of the game that actually is done better than the actual Pac-Man for the Atari 2600. In the 2600 version of Pac-Man, the tunnels are on the top and bottom of the screen, but the arcade original has them on the left and right, like this game. The one big thing this game does differently than Pac-Man is that it gives you a bonus level. What a great way to break up the monotony of a game like this. At least a little bit anyway. I know most Atari games are pretty repetitive. The bonus level actually isn't like Pac-Man, it's like Frogger. And I was not expecting that. I mean, it's a quick level, you only have 8 seconds to run your way through rows of aliens that are traveling left and right. You just kind of identify a gap in the rows, and hopefully you can run your way straight through to the top of the screen and retrieve a prize. If you fail this level, which I usually fail this 9 out of 10 times, you just go back to the regular level. You die on this level and you don't lose a life in the game, it's great. I mean, it makes that bonus level even better. I'm a big fan of no risk. Generally, the aliens aren't too difficult to dodge in this game, at least not in the settings that I'm using. I do find myself missing eggs from time to time, and running around stepping on stuff it gets boring after a while, I guess, but it's a decent enough game for the 2600. It's definitely not amazing, but it's worth some time every now and then. I'm definitely impressed at how it's a Pac-Man clone, and yet it seems to be better than the Pac-Man game that was made for the system. The colors here are also a little less painful to look at. The blue and purple here. I guess I'll take that over the gold and blue of Pac-Man any day. The sound effects here are also pretty good. It's not as grating as a Pac-Man experience, and they seem familiar. I wouldn't be surprised if they've been used in other games. Okay, well that's all I have for this one. Thanks for watching.